Hey, this is Chelsea Dupre, host of CJ and Sal. Thanks for listening to the following podcast on Public House Media.
What's up, everybody? This is Christian Heimel, host of Press Row here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you're done with this episode, I hope you'll come check out my show, Press Row, where we talk about the biggest issues in sports with the analysts, experts, and reporters who cover them. No nonsense, hard-hitting interviews on the sports topics you're talking about. A new show comes out every single Thursday. And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Press Row. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
History is happening in High Point as professional baseball has come to Furniture City. Don't miss any of the action from strikeouts,
3-2 called strike three right at the knees,
to web gems,
stabbed by Alfonso, he spins, throws to first, and the pick by Bichette grounds out a beautiful play.
to home runs,
High fly ball deep left field. This one is gone. Get up and get out. Tyler Ladendorf.
and of course, every rockin' victory.
The pitch. Swing, strikeout, the Rockers win. The first win in Rockers history here at home.
Interviews, recaps, and insights from across the Atlantic League. It's all fresh off the Rockers.
Hello and welcome to episode number 6 of Off the Rockers. I am Kevin McMahon, the voice of the Rockers. I do a little play-by-play broadcasting for the High Point Rockers. You can listen to us on Spreaker or on YouTube for every home game at BB&T Point. I'm joined by James Jackson, the media relations coordinator for the Rockers. James, always good to hear from you when we are recording. When I'm sitting here with you, I know it's time for Off the Rockers. What's up, James?
Well, Kevin, I'm just having a great time, just celebrating this amazing day here on Sunday. Great time to be a part of this organization after this win.
Absolutely. It's Father's Day when we record this, so happy belated Father's Day when you hear this. If you are a father or, you know, whatever's going on, we say
Happy Father's Day to the moms who do fill in that role, too.
Happy Father's Day to everybody. We enjoy having a lot of families and fathers and sons and daughters here at the park, enjoying kids run the bases and catching the outfield. It was outstanding. And the Rockers won today 3-2 in dramatic fashion. Giovanni Alfonso hits a walk-off single. That rule, the Atlantic League baseball rule that puts a guy on second base when the extra inning starts, happened as this one went into extra innings in the 10th inning with 2 outs. Giovanni Alfonso hits a single, and Richie Schaefer, who started on second when the inning started, came in to score. Giovanni was mobbed at first base by his teammates. They were happy to see him. Waters were flying everywhere, and the Rockers split the series with the Ducks 2-2.
Honestly, what is with us as an organization with winning on walk-offs on a Sunday?
I know.
It seems to happen all the time.
And it's a good problem to have.
It really is.
And yeah, we're as Rocker fans are thrilled that happened, and it couldn't have come at a bigger time because the Ducks had won 2 in a row. I think the Rockers had lost 3 in a row, and it was game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday after the Rockers dropped the first one and then the one on Friday night. They win yesterday 8-0 and then win today. So they split the series, and that's huge because after game 1 of the doubleheader, the Rockers were 5.5 games back. With the win last night in game 2, came in today 4.5 back, and then with a win today, 3.5 back. Before game 2, the Rockers were in danger of being 7.5 games back in the Liberty Division when the first half is coming up, and at the end of the first half, that you clinch a playoff spot if you are the number 1 team in the Liberty Division. So that push is coming up because this homestand that we're in right now, believe it or not, is actually the last games that the Rockers will play in June. We'll get to that a little bit later. And we'll get to the way the playoffs work and a little bit more information about the Atlantic League in general in this week's interview with first base coach
and player procurement coach.
Thank you. Billy Horn, who joined us. I want to be careful with the coach as we hear later.
Well, he's not really a player procurement. He scouts the players.
Yeah, and he helps bring the guys in and
really
get them going. Yeah, but he you can see him down at first base when you come in. So we'll tell you about Billy in a second. But a little recap here, as I was saying, as I'm rambling on here, James, such an important win here for the Rockers to get the win here today. And a lot of excitement and celebration in that win because the Rockers knew how important it was.
Honestly, this whole series, and even in York, York was a rough time for us. We lost 4 out of the 5 games. Not going to sugarcoat it. York played great baseball. The Rockers, at this point to now, I think that they were looking to find their identity as an organization again, having lost Quincy, Lattimore, Dante Bichette, and Brett Austin. I think they're really trying to find their who they are again. If you notice looking at the lineup sheets that Jamie's putting guys who aren't normally in the outfield and moving people around in different positions to see where they fit and what they can do to fill in those roles. And I think honestly he's finally found that now. Started the series a little bit rough against the Ducks, having won game 2 of the doubleheader yesterday, and then now this walk-off the day. I think they've got that momentum and that excitement back into the clubhouse again. The big key stars were now so far out of here now. They've had their contract purchased and they've moved on. And now these guys had to step up and figure out their identity again. And I think that's what they found tonight. And I think we're going to see a better, stronger Rockers team this weekend.
And what's pretty fun about this now, because as you just said, when we talked about Dante last week, after we went off the air, like a day later, or maybe even later that night, Brett Austin got his contract purchased by the San Francisco Giants. Is now playing for the Richmond Flying Squirrels.
And they played each other.
Just so happened that they played each other, Dante and Brett did, like 2 days after the transactions happened. And they played each other, and they took a great picture in Rocker hats. You can see on the High Point Instagram. But the one point I want to make – go ahead.
There's one photo that has not been shared where Brett is actually behind Dante when Dante's batting catching.
That's awesome.
And Dante's looking back behind at Brett laughing.
That's awesome.
It's honestly a great photo.
The one thing I want to say is that's so exciting as it was shown today. Yes, Brett leaves, and yes, Dante left because they both got their contracts purchased, but we're seeing new stars emerge every single night and every single day. Hector Gomez, who was already a big deal when the season started, he is now getting massive cheers and playing well, played great in Sunday's game, and is getting large reactions, and he's emerging as another star. He was already at star status, but he's emerging. Richie Schaefer played great yesterday, scored the run today. Tyler Marenkov had a big day yesterday.
Let's talk about Dominic DeMasi, a new guy whose first game with the Rockers tied the franchise record for most strikeouts in the game by a starting pitcher. That's a heck of a welcome to an organization, isn't it?
Yeah, so if you're a Rockers fan and you can look at the lineup and go, well, I loved the guys they had, and now they're not there anymore, so I don't know if I want to come out. You should come out still because it's a new – for this team, they're so deep. There's so much depth. It's a new guy every night. There's so many changing storylines in this league alone. That's the way it's kind of set up in the Atlantic League. And, it's a new person every single night, and there's stars emerging every single day, and you could go down the entire lineup and talk about how they're coming through. Vio Sergi Rosa with a big home run today. I mean, so many guys in this lineup that get big cheers and that play like big stars. And then after every game, win or loss, they're taking pictures and signing autographs. So,
to take a page out of NC State's book when they won the NCAA championship, survive in advance. Honestly, that's what this league is. You overcome it all. Guys come and go all the time. It's about how you can overcome that in advance and move on into the next chapter of the season, So, yes, we're happy everybody's there and moving on with their careers and making big names. But at the same time, these new guys, there's a lot of talent on this roster that was honestly, I think, overshadowed. But, Dante and Brett and Quincy, all these guys were playing great baseball. But now
or maybe you had to look a little bit harder to see it.
I don't want to say overshadowed, but yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
now it's a lot easier to see.
Yeah, now it's clear, hey, Hector's playing great. I know he just got a home run for the first time in a while, and honestly, Hector deserved that. It was
in
great
a huge
to see.
spot.
It was. Kaleon Sams. He almost had a home run. The crowd went wild. The bat cracked. It was the loudest thing I've ever heard.
We were talking about it after the game, the world's longest ground rule double.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a lot of talent here that, these new guys are really stepping up and delivering as a team, that this is, a new identity for the Rockers.
And that's a great way to set up our interview with Billy Horn, because he talks about all this stuff. So let's not wait any longer. Let's go listen to that right now. Here is the first base coach for the High Point Rockers. He is funny and has a lot of baseball knowledge and a lot of knowledge about the Atlantic League. So here he is, Billy Horn. Hey, Rockers fans, for the interview portion of Off the Rockers this week, we have Coach Billy Horn with us. I called Jamie Keefe Coach before, so I made that mistake. But this is Coach Billy Horn with us, so I know I'm on good terms here. But we got James with us as well, so Billy, thanks for joining us.
Hey, absolutely, yeah. Don't call me Coach.
Okay, all right. I don't know who. See, I'm still getting used to baseball. I don't know who I call Coach and who I don't call Coach.
Okay, so here's the way that goes. Basically, it's kind of like when you're in like doctorate school and you graduate to doctor, then you can be called doctor. So like with us, it's like, for your like T-ball and high school and college, those guys are called coach.
Right.
And when you kind of graduate to professional baseball, it's just your first name. So that's pretty cool. Like, when you sign rookie guys, especially, last year being in the Frontier League and have been in the Can-Am, some of these kids call you coach, and you just know they're green. They're just rookies. So we have fun with it. We wear them out and stuff. But, anytime a player, he calls me coach, I just call him player. Because I have a first name. We're all people here. So, but no, thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. Been dying to be on the show here all year. And it's, been a fun year so far here in the first half. We got about 22 games left to go, right in the thick of things, inaugural season. So it's been a lot of fun. So, we're just going day by day.
And we'll start there, especially for a lot of Rockers fans who might be new to the Atlantic League, the way the playoffs work. You got the first half coming to an end, so this is a little bit of crunch time here. I know it feels weird because you're just moving into July, but the intensity picks up a tiny bit here because it's first half and you got the number one team coming in this week, this homestand with the Long Island Ducks, so everyone counts.
Oh, you're right. Every single game does count, But, yeah, the way it breaks down into halves, you have the two divisions. And, right now it's pretty safe to say I think Sugarland's got they got their division locked up, over there. And, our division is a four-way dogfight. You got Long Island, and then you got Somerset, us, and you can't sleep on New Britain. I mean, I think we're 2-6 against New Britain. So, and we even had that same trouble in Long Island when I was there in 2017. They're just a scrappy club. But, yeah, the way the playoffs work, obviously, whoever wins the division, each of their respective divisions in the first half automatically gets into the playoffs, and then second half gets a little tricky. You can go 0-70 in the first half, but if you win the second half, you win your division, you're in the playoffs. So, anything can happen. Every game counts, and we're going to give it everything we got these last 22 down the stretch.
All right, we'll move to James now.
Billy, I'm really interested in your procurement part of your position. What goes into finding the right player for an organization like with the Rockers? What goes into finding a right fit for the organization?
Fortunate enough for us to be in the Atlantic League, the premier league of independent baseball, and now to be with a new club with a beautiful stadium and a wonderful coaching staff that we're surrounded by here, with Jamie Keefe and Frank Viola, the pitching coach, and then we even have a bullpen catcher, Albert Gonzalez, and then Bubba Birdsong is here throwing BP, and to be surrounded by a staff like that, it's pretty easy actually, So when it comes to weeding out the right player and bringing the right guy in here, Jamie and I have pretty much the same philosophy. Whenever we get a name or somebody comes across our board, if we don't know them personally, what we like to do is contact at least 3 different players that they've played with, and at least one, manager or, pitching coach or hitting coach that they've played under, just to see what kind of guy he is, and that's the one thing we wanted to build, this Rockers ball club on is character, first and foremost. I mean, we know we're going to get talent. We've seen it. We've already moved 5 guys back, 4 to major league organizations and, and Q down to Mexico. So we know we're getting the talent, but it's just a matter of having that right mix of guys, in the clubhouse. And you could see it definitely, it's been pretty awesome, especially we're playing good ball right now, and, everybody gets along. It's a tight-knit family. So, character is number one for me.
And that makes a lot of sense now, because whenever we bring players up here, whether even if it's sparked by a question that James or I ask, usually they bring it up on their own, which can tell you a lot. They bring up the culture. So they bring up how much fun they're having, and they always point, it goes right back to the coaches every time they bring it up. But obviously everybody's involved, in the players and the coaches. But to build on that point, how important is the culture? Because it's we had a great quote from Keith last week in the pregame show. He said, "This is your brothers for the summer. So if you don't like them, it's not going to be a good time." Yeah. So you got to live with them, you got to move with them, you got to play with them. So how important is that aspect truly to be successful?
It really is the most important thing. There's 8 teams in this league, and every team's got 6, 7, 8, 10, 15 guys that have played in the big league. So again, like we said, the talent is here, but to make sure you got the right group of guys, man. And there have been plenty of players that come across our board, and one of our players may know him, or myself or one of the other coaches may know the guy, where he's not really a rocker, not what we're looking for. Because remember, you got to be between the lines. Just like you said, you got to live with these guys, all summer, and then you want to make sure you have outstanding young men, in the community, and especially when we're on the road in the hotels, just representing the organization in the most professional way.
And it's a double-sided coin, I guess, this next part of your job. But, oh, great, Dante Bichette moves up. Oh, great, Brett Austin moves up to baseball or gets purchased. That's awesome. Now we need a first baseman. Now we need an extra catcher. How do you balance that? And, what kind of goes through your head? And obviously that's the ultimate goal, to have guys, keep their baseball dreams alive in any aspect. But how do you balance that with, we're happy, but we got to move on to the next thing now?
Yeah, well, thank God for cell phones, I'll tell you, because, when Brett was picked up the other day, Jamie even got on the mic, hey, congratulations to Brett Austin. Anybody here know a catcher? So sometimes, for in my opinion, sometimes during the season, your best, recruiters, if you want to call them, are your own players. Because they'll always come up to us, say, hey, I don't know if we need a guy, but hey, this guy got released. He's a good friend of mine, or I played with him. He's a good guy. And then it's also having your connections to, all 30 Major League organizations, and having connections to the agents as well. For me, I've got connections to a lot of agents and a lot of organizations, but when it comes to the agents, I got a list of about 10 of them that I can really trust, because how agents are. They're going to try and push to get their guys signed, but you got your guys that you really go to, and they say, hey, this guy would fit here, but or no, he's not, and we respect that a lot, because once you send us a player and he doesn't come as advertised, obviously we're not going to.
That might be your last phone call to that.
Might be our last phone call. But no, that's the best part of independent baseball is it's 2 things, 3 things. Obviously, in my opinion, you want to put the best product on the field. You want to make sure that the fans are having a great experience. The ownership is staying out of the red. We can't really control that, but we kind of can by bringing in top-notch talent. So bringing in great players. Winning ball games and having fun, and then, moving guys to organizations. To me, there's only one other thing, and I'll get into that, but when you move guys along and it shows that your coaching staff and your organization is working for you, look at Long Island and Sugar Land. I think they've moved 8, 9 guys each. We've moved 5. So it just makes that culture where, if I get released by an organization, I want to go play for these teams, because they're getting guys in, and, they're giving them an opportunity, and they're getting them out,
Set the precedent.
Yeah. Exactly. But I really feel the most important thing, especially for organizational guys that have been in an organization for a long time, you really see these guys find their true love and passion for the game again. And that's a real pleasure to see. You'll see these guys come in, and, organizational ball is obviously a little bit different. It's a lot more regimented. It's a lot more scheduled, a lot more detail-oriented, and so forth and so on. Not that we're not organized, but these guys have a little bit more freedom, to maybe work on something with their own craft. You know what I mean? So generally it comes down from we want him to do this, and, if it's not working, a guy may struggle mentally, but, these guys, we let them do the thing. Go out there, do your thing. We know you can play. So in turn, it's showing that these guys are having a lot of fun, really enjoying being out here. And it's so cool when we sign a guy who was in AAA or the big leagues, and he looks at our roster or the opposing roster, and it's like, man, I know that guy. I play with that guy. So it just shows you the legitimacy of the Atlantic League and independent ball, overall as well.
And to that point, to follow up to your point there, we had Dante up here, I think, on the first one, and he said playing here and playing independent ball in general, he said,
I fell in love with it.
Yeah, he said I was able to breathe. You don't have to worry about. I'm putting more just about now, but in my opinion, when you think of the way minor league baseball in general is regimented, you have AA, AAA, single A, advanced A, low A. So you're thinking if you're in high A, you're thinking I don't want to go back down, I want to go back up. You're looking up and down. Here you can just look straight and do your own thing, like you said.
Yeah, I mean it's got its pros and cons, because if you think about it on the flip side, we don't have a AA to send guys down to. We don't have a big league to promote them. So, it's a lot harder to stick around in independent ball than it is with an organization, because, a guy like Dante, who's a great player, he's outstanding. I hope he makes it to the big leagues. I know he's got what it takes. And, hopefully with him being, with Washington now, he'll have a chance. But, for any players that, if you're a AA or AAA, if you're not doing so well and they like you, they'll send you to AA or they'll send you to high A.
They'll keep you around.
Yeah, they keep you around. But here, I mean, you got to perform or we got to look for somebody else. So, it's it is a relaxed environment. It's a lot of fun, and it's you're not dealing with all the analytics and all the meetings. But we have our meetings with the hitters and pitchers and stuff. But there's a lot of pressure here.
It comes with high stakes.
And especially for any of the guys that are out there listening, for players like in the off season. When you're negotiating your contract and you want a lot of money, well, you better perform like a high dollar guy, because, if you come in at a lower price, you'll have a lot more leeway to stay, because, we have to balance the salary cap here too. So, any guys that are listening to that, you should definitely take that into some consideration, depending on, what level you've played at and so forth.
Now, Billy, I believe a lot of the coaching staff has history with Jamie, whether it was they coached with Jamie, they played against Jamie, they managed against Jamie. What is your relationship with Jamie prior to High Point?
I first met Jamie in 2015 when I became a part of the Ottawa Champions staff. The Ottawa Champions are in the Can-Am League. 2015 was our first year in the league, and I was fortunate enough to be the pitching coach and player guy under Hal Lanier. Now, everybody knows Hal, major league manager, been in independent ball for the last 136 years. So I had a chance to compete against Jamie. We never really beat them during the regular season, but in 2016 we got Kiefer's number, and we were 4-16 against them in the regular season, and then we faced them in the championship. We lost the first two at home, and then we kind of caught a little fire, and we won all three on the road. But it's kind of cool because every team that Jamie's put together, and just knowing him through other people and knowing him personally, like, the guy loves to win. The guy loves to win. He's a fierce competitor, and I remember seeing interviews that he's done. You'll never see me on the field. He's smiled more on the field this year than I've ever seen, and he'll admit to that. And it's because of Viola. We're having so much fun. We're having so much fun with Frank. It is so awesome to work with a guy like Frank, and obviously the resume speaks volumes. And having been in an organization, with the Mets the last 8 years, he's having so much fun, and we're having so much fun. And just seeing Jamie laugh every day, and whether we're winning or losing, we just keep battling. We keep that vibe really relaxed for the guys, because that's what these guys need. These guys don't need, manager and coaching staff always, yelling and screaming and all that stuff. That's maybe more, college and high school. Maybe that's why they call those guys coach. I don't know.
Well, being relaxed, so it goes for the staff too. You can be a little bit more relaxed.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, it's a 140-game season. We lost 3 out of 4 to a last-place team. Whatever. Let's go. Hey, let's strap it on. Let's have fun. Get on the bus. Let's get to the ballpark, take some BP, and let's have some fun.
Now, you bring up having fun. How big is having fun to the way guys play? Do you think having fun will bring out, the best in them, not being so serious, but yet again, hey, let's go out and let's just have fun. And you can see, like, Dante had fun and he performed well. Do you think that's the way to go? Or
it all depends on the person. You look at a guy like Dante, he's just a laid-back dude, man. He's just laid back. And you look at a guy like Cardullo, where he's a little bit more reserved, a little bit more serious, a little bit more I don't want to say he's more locked in or anything like that, but his approach is, it's Johnny serious, Johnny business, shirt and tie, where Dante's coming in board shorts, flip-flops, and a bandana, and they're both great players. They're both outstanding players, and we're really hoping that and I just brought up Cardullo as an example just because he was walking by, But we're hoping to get him to an organization also. So and that's the other cool part of our job is we're constantly trying to get these guys out of here and move them on to a better opportunity, so to speak, with an organization, and hopefully find these guys back up in the big leagues again, or for the first time.
So back to Jamie a little bit now. You said you played against him in 2015 and 16, and you actually got his number in 16, winning the championship with the champions in Ottawa.
Yep.
How did that exchange go over? And then finding out, hey, now I want you to come work for me now. How did that go?
Jamie threw a few choice words at Hal and myself that we can't say on the air. But no, I'll tell you, he's just a consummate professional, great guy to work for, and very gracious. He reminds me of Hal a lot because when I was with Hal was just, he'd let me do the lineup exchange and write the lineup and, groom me to manage. And Jamie's the same way here. He's always asking me and Frank, hey, what do we do with the lineup? Hey, what do we do with the rotation? What do we do here? What do we do there? So it's really cool to see that and be on a staff where, there's no ego. There's no, I'm the manager, I'm the boss. We're all in this thing together. Same thing with the players, front office staff, ownership group, But yeah, it's cool to see him not so serious all the time.
What is it like being a manager? What goes into being a manager? Obviously, you've had your fair share of time with Iowa, Corn Belters, and the champions. You've had your fair share of being a manager. Yep. What is that like as an experience?
It's awesome, man. You're a lot more locked in than you are as a bench coach. Believe me, I know that. But there's everything goes into it. Everything goes into it from thinking a couple innings ahead about how to manage the bullpen, who do I want in what situations, who do I have coming off the bench to pinch hit, to run, depending on the situation, the score, the standings, do we have a day off coming up? So, there's so much that goes into it. But what a lot of people and anyone that's listening that's not too familiar with independent ball, you're not just managing a baseball game, you're managing a baseball club. And you find yourself a lot of times not being out there for batting practice or being out there with the pitchers because, you're in the front office, you're helping the ownership group, you're helping the front office staff, or you're doing your player procurement, trying to bring in a player because, somebody had gotten signed or somebody had gotten hurt. So there's a lot that goes into it. And, for any coaches, or players that are out there that have aspirations of coaching or managing an independent ball and then maybe going to an organization, being an independent ball has been great for me these last 5 years because I've learned a side of myself, through managing that I didn't know I had, because it is, at the end of the day, it is cutthroat business. You got to win games, and you can't please everybody as much as you want to, and you give your guys a fair share, and but like I said, you got to please your players first and foremost. You got to please your organization, so please the fans. But it's great. I love it. I enjoy managing. I enjoy just baseball itself, being in the dugout, being on the road, being with the guys. There's nothing better, in my opinion.
And just a few more questions for you. But you brought up a good point just a second ago when you said, it is a 140-game season, and you got to take the good with the bad. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. And as you brought up, you go on the road, you win the series against Long Island. You've won both so far against them, I believe. And you go on and you take York, who you won the series against at home, then you lose 3 out of 4 against them. But then, like you said, got to come play BP because guess what? The first place team is here now. So, not only is it an opponent, but it's a tough one in the Ducks as well. So you got to turn around. And what challenges does that bring? And like you already touched on, what benefits does that bring as well?
I don't think there's many challenges, to be honest with you. Our guys are professionals, and they're always looking forward, But, as far as we go, it just proves to you that you can't take anybody lightly. Again, we beat 2 out of 3. We took 2 out of 3 from the first place team. Last place team in the other division, they beat us 3 out of 4. So you can see there's talent. Hey, who's pitching hot? Who's hitting hot? Who's catching hot? Hey, we did lose our catcher. We brought in a rookie catcher who's been outstanding for us. We actually kept him. He's doing so well. We love the kid, but obviously we signed a AAA guy. Matt Jones just joined our ball club today. He was with Arizona, and he's going to get a chance to be our backstop. Back there 4 or 5 times a week, and we got to keep rolling. You got to keep rolling with the punches. Our best hitter, or actually, average-wise, the best hitter in the league gets picked up. Probably the best catcher in the league gets picked up. And you got to remember, we lost our number 1, 2, and 3 starters. I mean, with Clemens, he should be back in a couple of weeks out of the bullpen, and Manus, we lost him to Texas, which is awesome. He's dealing up in AAA. He's doing really well. Hopefully gets a call back up to the big leagues, deservingly so. And obviously we lost our starter, Matt Sergey, which, appears like it could very well be for the year. So we just got to keep battling, keep replacing guys. And, that's the thing. You got to replace guys with the guys you lose that are just as good or better.
And you've been with a lot of different teams. You've been in the Atlantic League. You've been with the Ducks, but you're here with the Rockers in their inaugural year. You talked about how you've done that before, and in your second year won a championship with a brand new team. But what have you liked so far here in your first year, and what has the overall experience been, in a nutshell for you?
Well, the barbecue's outstanding down there. No, the food is great. No, this is great. It's really awesome to be a part of an ownership group where I have been before. Every stop I've had along the way, they want to win. And that's what independent ball is about. You'll see, teams throughout independent baseball where, they don't really care about winning, all that much, and they just want to make their revenue. But here, Long Island, Ottawa, normal, they want to win. We want to win ball games. We want to put a good product out. Yeah, of course, you're in this from the business side to make money, But dealing with the front office has been great. Dealing with the ownership group has been fantastic. They set us up in beautiful apartments. They're really taking care of us here. It's we got a great staff, clubhouse managers, home and away, and our trainers. Everything has been really everything's just been first class. And anything that we've needed. And from the coaching staff to the players, from the fan experience, anything that we've recommended, the front office and ownership's like, hey, we're going to do what we can to keep you guys happy. And that's all you can ask for, because we're out here grinding every single day, and so are you guys. You guys are here every single day, and everybody knows in independent ball, we're not getting rich here in independent ball. So we really appreciate what you guys do, on the mic, in the front office, and in the stands, and on the field in between innings. It's not easy. It takes a special kind of person to do this job because, again, knowledge is pretty much your reward. We're not getting paid and a lot, obviously, at this, in independent ball, but you do your thing, you work hard, and just like players get picked up, same thing happens with coaches, front office, owners move on to, Major League Baseball, or, and our owner's been in Major League Baseball, National Hockey League. So, I really believe that, good, hard, honest work is always rewarded.
And last question, you've been a lot of different places, but where, maybe unfair to rank, but where do you like BB&T Point, the stadium itself? Where do you put that? And we haven't asked this question a lot. I'm going to start asking it. But how have the fans been for you as the coach? Maybe, or as on the staff, you get a different view of it than the players because you are right there on the first base line and you get to kind of see everybody interacting, and you don't have to, you can kind of look around a little bit more than a player. So what have you seen from down there from the fan perspective? From the fan perspective,
it's been outstanding. I don't know what we're drawing. I know the numbers are a little off, because everyone says, oh, you're last in the league in attendance. That's not true. We're definitely not last in the attendance because we're on the road and we look around and we see 133 people in the stands and we're like, they didn't have 3,000 fans here, So, and the fact that the fans, they're right on top of you, it's awesome. And they're really into it. They know the game of baseball. They're into it. 2 outs, 2 strikes, in the top of the ninth, we're up, and we got our closer, Trevor Frank. They're clapping and hollering and excited and, going out to coach first base and stuff. Every couple innings, I'll talk to some kids or some people out there. And then we got the Catalyst Club, and we got some, local business owners that we've been able to meet, through restaurants or whatever, and they're always yelling at us on the field. So it's awesome. As far as this, again, like I said, managing was the ultimate high for me last year to put together my own club, but being able to put the club together with Jamie this year, and being here and the way we're treated, it's just outstanding. This has been the best experience for me throughout independent baseball because, every once in a while you got to take a step back, and now to see, I got a guy, Jamie Keefe, who's been around for 18 years, and then you got Frank Viola. I've never had a pitching guy to work with. I've always been the pitching guy. Even when I managed, I was a pitching coach. So being able to bounce ideas off of Frank, and it's kind of cool, like Frank and I are on the same page when it comes to pitching philosophy, work regimen. Managing the boat, we're on the same page. So this is pretty awesome. I'm very, very happy and grateful and fortunate to be here.
Well, Billy, that's all we got. Thank you so much for stopping by, and we always appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. Let's keep grinding away, and hopefully I'll be on the show again sometime later in the year, and we'll be hopefully planning a playoff push.
Huge thanks to Billy Horn. Loved having him on the podcast. I love his excitement about being on Off the Rockers, and we will definitely have him back. So we know that was a long conversation. I thought it was very interesting, but we know that you are a busy person. You're a busy Rockers fan, and you got things you got to do. So as we wrap it up here, we will let you know what's coming up at BB&T Point and why you have to come out to the ballpark. Let's go over to James Jackson in the Rockers Event Center. Please let us know what's going on here, James.
Well, Kevin, on Tuesday, June 18th is our next game. It is actually Taco Tuesday.
Come on.
6:30 p.m. Chef Jason Perry always has a specialty taco.
I thought it was the same one every week. It's not. It's brand new. Last week, I think it was a Reuben-style taco.
Yeah, and then the week before, it was swordfish. Did you happen to have that swordfish sandwich today?
I did not get my hands on one.
It was actually really good. I saw Edwin Carl, our pitcher, just downing like 2 of them. It was really good. So definitely come on out and try that. Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. is our camp day. We're facing the Barnstormers in a 3-game series, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which leads to Thursday, our last home game of the month, I believe.
It is.
We are actually having dollar beer night on Thursday night, so come on out with your buddies. Come on out, celebrate dollar beer night. I believe it's dollar beers for domestic beer, and then a $2 version, and actually a $3 craft beer, select craft beer. So
yeah, you can get a pint for $2. And then a little bit smaller for $1, and then a craft for $3. Yeah. But how many places can you go nowadays? And I'm talking about anywhere. I'm talking about anywhere in the world that serves beer and get it for $1. Very few places, if any. And High Point Rockers at the High Pint here, BB&T Point. That's one of the places in the world where you can get one. So you should definitely do that. As James just mentioned, the last time you're going to be able to see the Rockers in the month of June, and it's the first time you're going to get a glimpse of the Barnstormers as they make their first trip into High Point, and it's the first time the Rockers as a team have seen them in general because they haven't made the trip up to Lancaster yet.
Yes, they have.
They have?
They started the season against Lancaster.
Oh, so this is their second time seeing them. First time seeing them on the road.
Yes, this is their first time hosting the Barnstormers. But yes.
But they started the season up in Lancaster.
In Lancaster.
There you go.
I only remember that because I made a meme that says, hand them the L. It's their fault that they had rock the L as their motto this year. I just capitalized on it.
Gotcha. All righty. Well, that is all we have for you today. The Lancaster Barnstormers coming into town starting on Tuesday, and then the Rockers aren't in town again until July. And when they are back, July 1st, it is the Lancaster Barnstormers again, and then the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs as they go into the All-Star break.
And following that, yes, the All-Star break in York, Pennsylvania. Go on highpointrockers.com and make your vote. Or go to atlanticleague.com and make your vote for your High Point Rockers to make it to the All-Star game.
And
definitely appreciate it.
And how do they vote?
They go to the Atlantic League website, I believe, and vote for that. Either there or there's a specialty website. Or you can go on ours and go through the link through there. So either way, just go ahead, vote for your Rockers, and we hope to see them in the All-Star game, and we hope to see you all here at BB&T Point.
We'll see you at the point, and we'll see you next week on Off the Rockers. But unfortunately, we now must bid you adieu. Goodbye.
Good night.
We'll see you next time. We'll see you at the point. Thanks, and go Rockers.